Yeah. Cold air, bright flame, hit a crest when we enter. When the crest covers circle tight, we remember. Power in the whispers, protection in the spell. Etching in our bloodline, yeah, we know it well. Strong minds, strong hearts, every sigil intentional. Love keeps us guarded, magic multi-dimensional. We rise together, no throne, no lone caster. Sisters and brothers, every spell cast faster. Ice in the wind, but the bonds stay warm. Through shadow and storm, we transform. This ain't fear, this is faith in motion. When the crest covered, strength, love, devotion.
Blessed be everyone. You are listening to the Winter Crest podcast, and I am joined here with Orinda, Darth Orinda, the famous singer, the famous rapper, and orator, and spiritual expert. And we have come to the office early this morning, and I'm not really an early morning person, but it was necessary because last evening we watched the Harry Potter trailer, and it was a wonderful trailer.
It was.
I enjoyed what I saw.
Yeah.
Now, for full disclosure, I'm a huge Harry Potter fan. Mm-hmm. I own every one of the movies. I bought them 2 or 3 times. I own the book series. I have so many Harry Potter shirts,
Yeah.
coffee mugs, bumper stickers. I have the Sorcerer's Stone. If you watch the video at my office, I have the Sorcerer's Stone on the 1, 2, 3rd shelf, right by the crystal skull and the green like glass jar. And I have the Sorcerer's Stone right there. Mm-hmm. So needless to say, I'm a huge fan. I got Voldemort's one, Dumbledore's one, Harry Potter's one, and the man of the hour, Professor Snape's one from the movie series. Now, we wanted to do this because there's such an outcry about Professor Snape's skin color that is almost sickening.
Yeah.
There are so many people that are displeased with his skin color. And what that is basically undercover racism, especially when they start out by saying, I'm not racist. I am not, I don't say this because of his skin color. Yeah. He has beautiful skin color. He's a beautiful man. All right? It's a beautiful man, you know. He's not, you know, when people start out like that, we know what it is. We know what it is. And so we want to look at some of the aspects of that because it's basically racism. And don't give me this shit about somebody saying, well, you know, there are black people that disagree with it too. On the plantation,
Come on now.
you have black people that agreed with the slave masters and trying to bring these Negroes back to the plantation for massa. Mm-hmm. So don't tell me because you got Sambo black folks who they're filled with self-hatred.
Yeah.
Don't tell me they agree with you, and so it must not be racist then.
Right.
Black people have been Samboing for a long time, many of them, but not all of us. Some of us are like Nat Turner. Mm-hmm. Some of us is like Elijah Muhammad. Some of us is like Malcolm X. Mm-hmm. Some of us is like the Black Panther Party. You know, I don't agree with them in theological substance, but don't come at me sideways. Because I'm not one to turn the other cheek. You'll catch a hex on one side and maybe a bullet on the other. So don't come at me sideways.
Yeah.
All right?
Yeah.
You know, and you take that how you must take that. Mm-hmm. But there are people, black and white, talking about the man's skin color. Mm-hmm. And this is nothing new. Mm-hmm. We've seen this before with The Little Mermaid. Yeah. We've seen it before with The Cursed Child, when Hermione Granger was a black woman. And we're gonna talk later on about Blood and Bone because we've seen some of this bullshit
Yeah.
with Blood and Bone. And people, and this is black folks upset because the main actress is too light-skinned. This is craziness. And the reason it's so crazy is because Blood and Bone and Harry Potter and Little Mermaid are fictional works. They're fictional works. You wouldn't know what kind of color nobody was unless J.K. Rowling tells you what they were. And if the characters belong to her, then she have the right to rework any character according to her whims. And what the hell you got to say about it? You weren't the author. You didn't pen the work. You know, it's amazing to me how assholes can critique and criticize stuff when you can't do a damn thing. Only thing you can do is run your mouth. You didn't write no novels. You can't rival her with how many books she sold. The only thing you can do is talk about shit. And think you have a right to do so.
Yeah.
Over somebody else's intelligence and wisdom. So I'm up in arms about the discrimination against the brother and the death threats that he's getting for just simply doing his job.
Yeah. That's awful.
I don't think nothing in Harry Potter, unless you're following Voldemort and you want to be a Death Eater or something. You know, nothing there is exclaiming, kill the actors and the performers and the publishers. That is crazy.
That is.
Crazy.
Yeah.
I think, and what is his name? I have trouble pronouncing his name, and I don't want to butcher it, but Papa. I know that part is that part. So he's a great actor. I've seen him in other films.
Yeah.
He's a great actor. And he's worthy just off his acting talents alone.
Yeah.
He could play anybody.
He could.
Okay? So, but it's fictional. Once again, it's fictional. They have the right to do what they want to with it. You should just enjoy it.
Yeah.
And that's what I'm planning on doing. I don't care if they made Dumbledore an Asian or a Latino, or it don't matter to me. This is fictional. Do you remember Brandy Cinderella?
I was just thinking about that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I guess I'm telepathically reading your mind. And everybody...
Oh, they lost they damn
They really
minds.
did, didn't they?
They did. I was also thinking about Percy Jackson series that came out when they were mad at the recasting of Annabeth. And they were talking about not my Annabeth and mad.
Oh, that is
I'm like,
crazy. That is so crazy.
This girl is an amazing actress.
Amazing.
The girl that played Annabeth before her said, "Oh, I support her and everything that she does. I think she's gonna be great." She had her full support. The cast, the crew, the directors, the producers all signed off on it. How are you still raging and acting insane over something that's contracts have been signed, checks have been cashed, and contracts have been agreed to? It's done. It don't matter how angry you are about Annabeth not being a white girl. It don't matter how mad you are about Little Mermaid being melanated. It don't matter how mad you are about Snape having melanin and being a dark-skinned black man. It's done. The contracts are signed. The filming is done. It's done. What are you going to do about it? But rage and bitch and act stupid. It's like, and they try to make excuses for their racism and say, well, he shouldn't be that way because the book wasn't like that, or he shouldn't be that way because everybody hated Snape.
Yeah, they got a white Jesus in every church, and Jesus came from a region where the people were black, and they're not saying, Jesus, I can't go to this church because Jesus should not look like this.
Right. They don't care about that.
Yeah.
Because they don't care about truth.
Now, I don't want to take you so far from what you were getting ready to say, because I was thinking along those same lines, that when they look at his skin color and stuff like that, is going to bring a racial overtone. Is that where you were going?
Yeah.
Okay, a racial overtone with James and Sirius and the Snape dynamic.
Yeah.
Hatred is hatred.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter if it's racial hatred or just pure hatred. James and Sirius hated Snape. Sniffulus
Yeah.
is what they call him.
Yeah.
And James was a jackass.
He was.
Lily even called him a toe rat.
She did.
Okay? So he never, even in the series, of the movie series, he never had an endearing place in the hearts of fans. Because everybody knew he was a jackass.
Yeah.
Now, Lily had a place of love.
Yeah, she cared about him.
Because, well, she protected Harry. The fans could love Lily. But not too many fans really loved James.
Right. No.
Okay, you know, at Comic-Con, you don't see too many James Potters.
Not really.
Okay, you see some Lilies, you see some Snakes, but you don't see too many
No.
James Potters.
No, I can't think of any. No.
All right?
Yeah.
Because nobody really, James was an asshole.
Yeah.
Okay? So, but let's back up just a little bit.
Okay.
Because black people, I wonder, do we really know what it's like to be discriminated against? You know, is that really, I mean, that's the lot of black people like. We live day to day dealing with discrimination and having to combat injustice.
Yeah.
And you know what they say that, Fox News and other people say, well, we say that we're race baiting and stuff. We don't have to race bait. Y'all do that to us all the time. Just look at when black people are trying to buy homes compared to when white people are. Or how white people can get loans easier from banks compared to black people. How many times have white people have gone into stores and black women clench their purses, or they put stuff away saying that Negroes steal and all these kind of things and the memes and stuff.
Yeah.
It's so bad that a lot of black people don't even want to be considered black.
Yeah.
And that's a travesty too when it comes to Harry. We need to wake up. Y'all need to stop saying what you think slave master want us to say. Okay? And you see these black people saying, well, it's not in the books. Who wrote the damn book?
Yeah.
JK.
Yeah.
Who's working with the series? JK. I think she should have more right to say what she wants something to be than you. And she's not complaining about it.
Right. She's not.
Now, I know I said a lot of that fast. We're going to have to do some other videos because you can tell this kind of wind me up.
Oh, yeah. I mean, and it's warranted. It's warranted as something to rile you up, because instead of admitting, hey, you guys, I'm a white supremacist, I think all races are underneath me and I don't like it, they'd be like, I'm not a white supremacist. I just feel it doesn't keep to the historical nature of a fictional book. How dumb are you? How stupid are you? And instead of just admitting, hey, I'm racist, I like my Snape white, I like everybody, like Megyn Kelly, God white, Jesus white, Santa Claus white. I like it all white. White bread, white potatoes, white rice. I like everything in my life white. Instead of just owning your racism and finding out what you need to do going forward if you want to heal, if you want to remain racist. Instead of admitting that, oh, I'm not racist, but just the part where they hang him upside down that's gonna be triggering. I'm just concerned for black people's emotions and their feelings about how they're gonna feel when Sirius and James hoist him up.
Something, they're concerned about our feelings about the tree in that scene. There was no rope.
There was no tree.
There was no rope. There was no.
Lifting him up.
It was the levitation.
Yeah, levicorpus. Yeah.
Levicorpus. But there was no rope. There was no capes. There was no KKK robes.
Right.
He was just lifted up.
Yeah.
And he was bullied.
Yeah.
It's funny that you were concerned about our feelings with that.
Yeah.
But you weren't concerned about our feelings when they put a Christopher Columbus statue at the White House.
Yeah.
You weren't concerned about our feelings when they wouldn't let Jesse Jackson be displayed in an honorable position as a hero of America.
American history.
You weren't worried about our feelings when they take black history from the classroom.
Yeah.
And now Trump is taking slavery images out of all museums. What about our feelings now?
Yeah. They pick and choose.
Yeah.
They pick and choose because, you know, to say that, oh, these images are offensive, these images are bad, but you're not taking out Holocaust images
No, you're
out
not
of the
doing that.
museum. And those are some horrible images. People pushed to the brink of starvation. People tortured. You can see in their eyes. You can see in their faces the suffering that they went through. That's just as horrific as the slave trade, as the marks on the slave's back and the cotton and the torture devices.
I wouldn't
Well,
say
it's not
that.
just as
No,
horrific.
because
Slavery was worse.
Hitler was bad.
Yeah, slavery
Okay,
was worse.
they have still hair that they shaved from some of the prisoners piled up in Germany. Mm-hmm. That was bad.
That was bad.
But it was nothing compared to 400 years of torture.
Yeah, absolutely.
Last week, they had a guy get hung in Atlanta, a black kid, after confronting a white cop 2 days before.
Wow.
There was a guy hung in what's that? Not in Dakota, but it was North Carolina. In the Carolinas. Mm-hmm. And so you hadn't had no one Jewish in a gas chamber last week.
Oh, no.
Okay?
Yeah.
Now, they'll say that Iran is doing some things to them, but America and Israel started that shit.
They sure did. Yeah.
Okay? That kid in Atlanta was minding his business.
Yeah.
And they want to say that it was suicide.
Yeah.
When it wasn't suicide.
Yeah.
It was race.
It was racially motivated.
It was race.
And there's supposed to be anti-lynch laws in place to protect against crimes like that and to persecute crimes like that. And it's so ironic that all of these cases, and I've heard of multiple cases, especially in the southern states, where black men are committing suicide, quote unquote, and after coming in contact with people. But there's no way that they could have got themselves there. If they suicide, they found them in a tree, no chair, no ladder, nothing for them to step on to get up there. How would they have possibly committed suicide with no way to get up and hoist themselves? That does not make any kind of sense. But it seemed like seemed like I remember hearing some cases like that when Barack Obama was president about some lynchings in the South. It seemed like there was a young black man who was dating a young white girl, and they didn't like it. And I don't remember the state, so I'm not going to say the state, but people in the area were upset about it. And they found him in a tree and also said suicide. When it was known who he was with and who he was having a relationship with. It was well known. And people in the community disapproved of it. And they found him in a tree and they said suicide.
We're going to have to do some more podcasts on this.
Yeah.
And let me say this to the magical community. African American, Latino witches, both groups, don't get under no deceptions into thinking that racism does not exist in the magical community.
Oh, yeah.
Because it does. There are some witches that don't think we should even be here.
Yeah.
There are some witches who think we should just be honored because we are allowed to call ourselves a witch. Some believe that witchcraft is a European religion.
They do.
When we know that magic and witchcraft started in Africa by another name and then went to Mesopotamia. They didn't originate witchcraft. They may have coined the name because we're not talking in our native dialect, our native tongue.
Right.
Okay? So if I call myself a man, I'm not speaking in my native tongue.
Right.
So I call myself a man. If I call myself a husband, I'm not talking in my native tongue.
Right.
I'm talking in the white tongue.
Right.
Anglo-Saxon tongue, English tongue. The English is taken from Anglo-Saxon. That's white tongue, white land. I'm speaking in the white tongue.
Right.
If I speak Spanish, a lot of people think that's the Mexican tongue. That's not the Mexican tongue. That tongue comes from España.
Yeah.
It comes from Spain.
Yeah, it does.
That's a white tongue.
It is.
Okay? So when we say witch, we're just simply speaking in a white tongue.
Right.
Okay? But you coined the words, but you didn't coin the power.
Yeah.
How can you have control over divinity? You weren't the only one that had cunning folks and indigenous shamans.
Yeah.
You weren't the only one that dealt with the elements. You're not the only one that celebrate the solstices and the equinoxes.
Yeah. Yeah.
Magic don't belong to any group of people.
does not.
It belongs to anyone who would trust in it and
Yes.
call upon it and be that. So we got to be careful. And I'm going to say this here, and we're getting ready to conclude, but let me say this. Black people, since Jim Crow, and even before, have did everything in our power to placate white people.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
We talk differently at the family reunions. That's why Brother Malcolm X says, if you tell them what you really think,
Yeah.
they'll respect you.
Yeah.
But they can't respect you if we're talking about it in family gatherings. I done been around many black people, and in private they say, you know how they are. You know white folks don't want us to have nothing.
Yeah.
You know, but then when they get before the white man, they do the dance.
Like everything is all
Ain't
right.
no racism existing. Oh, I feel good. How you feel, Mr. White Man? You know? But then in private,
Yeah.
their hatred come out
Yeah.
of how they're being treated.
Yeah.
But if you just was to speak your mind and tell that man what you really feel like,
Yeah.
that you're receiving hell in his world,
Yeah.
hell in his nations.
Yeah.
They claim it.
Yeah.
Now black folks say, well, they're not just his nation, they ours nation. Really, we done bought this nation, built this nation, did everything. But they not giving you credit for it. They stole it fair and square like they did it from my other people, the natives. Okay, and you know, you always have to use this caveat. Not all white people are like that. Of course not. We're not saying that. Not all black people are Sambos either. You're listening
Right.
to who's not.
Right.
But if we're to say that racism does not exist, we will be liars like some of you guys.
Yeah.
Now, there are some black witches right now that's going to be saying, I don't really agree with, because they don't want to be associated with us. They too cowardly
Yeah.
to be with Wintercrest, too cowardly to speak their minds. So they're gonna go to, you know, the white brand of the craft and say, I'm not with, you know, I think that Paul Rafu, I think he's too militant. It don't take all that. He, you know, I think he sees things skewed. No, I see things as they are.
Clear.
You're the one seeing it skewed. You're the one afraid that if they don't approve of you,
Yeah.
then you can't be the witch that you need to be. But it's time for us to stand up as men and women
Yes.
and declare our right to think and speak the way we want to.
Yes.
And any white person that's listening to me,
Yeah.
if they're truly honest and truthful in heart, they will agree with me.
will.
Because they speak their truth.
Right.
They speak their mind, and they should.
They should. Everybody should be allowed to.
Everybody should be allowed to. That's the only way we get rid of this vice.
Yeah.
That's the only way we get rid of racism. The only way. When I was a Christian, I went to the Southern Believers Conventions, and I was a pastor. I went to those conventions, and I enjoyed them when I was a Christian. Now, Fred Casey Price, he's transitioned. He called me on the phone, and he and I talked, and we talked about race and religion because Kenneth Hagin Sr. made a statement. Now, this is when my eyes started to open that Christianity can't be yet. Really, it started a little bit before then, but it really started opening then. He called me, and but anyway, Kenneth Hagin Sr. said, we can work with black folks, we can worship with black folks, but we can't marry black folks. He said, my wife is telling me to be quiet, but it's the truth. We got black folks in here. Interracial couples should not ever marry. That's what he said. Now, Fred Price started the Race and the Religion series. He taught it for 2.5 years. And he said, you're not really in Christ if I can't marry your lily white daughter. Now, he called Creflo Dollar, and Creflo Dollar was preaching. That's why I went to hear him, and Bill Winston won on the list at that time. It was Jerry Savelle, Jesse Duplantis, and Creflo Dollar. And so Creflo got him and rebuked all them white folks. Oh, he spoke bold.
Whoa.
He spoke about Kenneth Hagin. He talked about what Fred Price said. And Creflo said, well, you can't really be saved if I can't marry your lily white daughter. Now, when he got through preaching, Copeland came up to the stage and got him around his neck and said, it's all right, son. He didn't rebuke Kenneth Hagin's words. He didn't confirm. He said, we're not going to have that racist stuff in here. So all of a sudden it's racist stuff when Creflo said, but it's not racist when Kenneth Hagin said it.
Wow.
So now, I never went back to another one. I was through with the Copelands at that point. And we have the same things going now.
Yeah.
There's a certain implicit bias that many white leaders have. That they are better than. And they'll say, well, I don't think I'm better. No, you act in a way. Your mannerisms.
Yeah.
You don't respect my word enough. And you see that displayed in churches.
Yeah.
You see Creflo Dollar's church, T.D. Jakes' church, Tony Evans' church, the Urban Alternative. They have hardly no whites in there, if any. But then you can find white pastors. They got a lot of black folks in there. Because those folks still got the slave mind, see? And then, but in those black churches, T.D. Jakes, he preaches almost like a white preacher. He just hoops at the end and yells. Creflo Dollar really teaches white. Evans teach white. Why they can't go to those churches?
Yeah.
They invite Evans to come preach for them. But they don't support him in that way because they have a problem with a black man being over them. That was the problem that Barack Obama faced.
Yeah.
And that's the real problem with the black Professor Snape. He has authority over white children, and they don't like how that look. They don't like how that look. But I don't give a damn what they think about it. I'm loving it. And I think it's going to backfire against y'all. I think this is going to be greater. I think people are going to wake up, and I think people are going to see that. And I hope the magical community wakes up.
Yeah.
I hope we wake up.
Yeah.
And I hope we can create an atmosphere in a community where there's truly no racism.
Yes.
That you can respect me for being a man, and I can respect you for being a man.
Yeah. Yeah.
I pray that time comes. We got a lot to talk about. We got to talk about the witch and men, women, and we got there's a lot of controversial things we have to talk about.
Yeah.
Thank you for listening. This has been Paul Abayarafu and Jasmine Arenda, and we're gonna come back and we're gonna do some more of this talking.
Yeah.
Some people are not gonna like what we're saying, but they can go to hell if one ever existed. And but those of you that do, I hope it wakes your mind up. And I hope that you're not affronted or embarrassed of what we're saying, because we're speaking truth finally.
That's right.
And we don't care who likes it or don't. All right? Until next time, thank you. You've been listening to the Wintercrest Podcast. I've been your host, Paul Abayarafu. And until next time, blessed be everyone.
Yeah. Cold air, bright flame, hit a crest when we enter. When the crest covers circle tight, we remember. Power in the whispers, protection in the spell. Etching in our bloodline, yeah, we know it well. Strong minds, strong hearts, every sigil intentional. Love keeps us guarded, magic multi-dimensional. We rise together, no throne, no lone caster. Sisters and brothers, every spell cast faster. Ice in the wind, but the bonds stay warm. Through shadow and storm, we transform. This ain't fear, this is faith in motion. When the crest covered, strength, love, devotion.